Hi, I'm Jacinta Coonahan and this is Coast Community News 5 at 5, April 30. Coming up this week, puzzlement over PEP11 post-paddle out. Mixed reactions to the Minister's public inquiry announcement. Local democracy advocate questions cancellation of elections. Councillor Holstein calls time after 30 years. And the music of long-distance swimming. We'll start off with PEP11 this week. Surfrider Foundation and Save Our Coast held a paddle out at Terrigal Haven last weekend to protest against gas and oil exploration off the coast. After 3 years of campaigning, all coastal MPs, both state and federal, have declared their opposition to the project. And the last MP to come on board, federal member for Robertson, Lucy Wicks, made an announcement on the day. Here's what she had to say.
The Prime Minister has also indicated this week here on the Central Coast again, he is also saying no to PEP11, and I'm pleased to say that under the Morrison government, PEP11 will not go ahead.
CCN did follow this claim by contacting the offices of the Prime Minister, Minister Keith Pitt, and BPH CEO David Breeze, all of whom confirmed that there has been no new official development about the decision.
So the decision on the permit is in the hands of the Minister Pitt, and he's not yet made his decision. He's made several releases, or he's put out several releases and several public statements, which says that he will, in fact, make his decision based upon the input of the department. And he was most recently also on national TV and made a further comment in response to that. And we will, in fact, just wait for the Minister Pitt to make his decision. It is quite available to local members and to parliamentarians to make comments about their assessment. And I can't comment on those.
We'll follow that story as it develops. It's time to move on to David, who has the latest on the council crisis.
Yes, thanks, JC. On Monday, the Minister for Local Government, Shelley Hancock, announced a public inquiry would be held into the performance of council, brushing aside a popular petition calling for a judicial inquiry, which was signed by over 20,000 coasties. Rosalind McCulloch, who has over 30 years of legal experience, was announced as the independent commissioner for the inquiry. However, she has been given limited terms of reference, according to some. The terms focus on two key issues: whether the council's actions and decisions contributed to the financial position and whether it had regard for its financial sustainability. The inquiry is expected to take at least a year and cost more than $1 million to hold. Acting CEO Rick Hart will now become the new administrator, and local government elections will not go ahead in September.
The public interest really trumps democracy today for me.
Local author and democracy advocate Klaus Waldring from Pearl Beach questioned the minister's statements and had this to say.
I've heard people talking about the public interest and democracy, and it's my view that the public interest is generated by democracy, by a proper democracy. That's where it comes from. It's not from some elite group or you know, you would almost think of a communist system where the top decides what is good for the people. So it seems to me that 3 years. That's absolutely ridiculous, I would say. What I would like to see is that at the next council elections in September of this year, that this matter is put to the citizens of the Central Coast in a referendum or a plebiscite, and where they can have their say, which they should have had in the first place.
There you go. And the Central Coast longest serving councillor, we believe, Chris Holstein, has retired after 30 years in the job. He has been the Mayor of Gosford numerous times and the state member for Gosford for a term. Central Coast newspapers caught up with him in our studios earlier this week.
Looking at it subjectively, there were 5 things. It's not a good analogy, the perfect storm, but it was 5 things that I think contributed to where council is at the moment.
What are those 5 things?
Firstly, I think the initial administration of council coming into the amalgamation was lacking in a number of ways. It was there to enact the government's fit for the future. It was there to establish that foundation and to get us well positioned to move on and amalgamate as a council. But I think it failed in a number of ways, and primarily I thought it was because the 2 harder questions, the difficult ones, the ones with conjecture or what were found to then be substantial in cost, that'll be deferred and we'll let the councillors deal with that.
And the full and somewhat revealing interview will be in print and online next week, so look out for that. So now let's go to Hayley with a review of how Anzac Day went across the coast.
Thanks, David. Multiple Anzac services across the coast went off without a hitch, with dawn services held at numerous locations, including Terrigal, Edelong and the Entrance. Coast Opera Australia paid tribute on the day, hosting a sunset service at Central Coast Stadium. An Avoca veteran who has never missed an Anzac march since serving in World War II also celebrated the important day with a walk down his local street. Jack Bartlett was greeted by dozens of locals, including the local fire brigade, who paid their respects to the 98-year-old veteran. Now it's time for sport with Hawk.
Thanks, Hayley. It was a disappointing week for the Mariners, who have picked up only 1 point from 6 in potential in the league in their previous 2 home games. First drawing 2-2 to Sydney FC on Saturday, then losing 4-0 to Brisbane Roar on Wednesday. The team, now dropped down to 3rd with teams below holding games in hand, are in dire need of regrouping ahead of Sunday's away clash against Melbourne Victory, with 3 more away fixtures to follow. In the stadium was Tascott local high jumper Nicola McDermott, who recently solidified her already earned spot in the Tokyo Olympics team with an Australian high jump record of 2 metres. I was very fortunate to have the opportunity to sit down with Nicola and try to ascertain the secret to her success.
The feeling of when I walked into Sydney Olympic Park, there was this moment of thinking, actually, I could win this. That moment that I still remember, like this turning point where I went, no, you've got this. You can actually become the champion. I have a big smile on my face when I'm jumping because joy is such an integral part of it. If I'm not enjoying it, I'm not going to be jumping as high because I'm too nervous. And the joy that I experience is there's just such freedom when I'm jumping.
The full interview, along with a number of other deep dives into the sports clubs and stars of the coast, can be found in the Around the Ground section of the sports category, with more to come next week. Now let's head to Harry for the weather.
Thanks, Hawk. Better find your umbrella as it looks like we have some rain coming. Starting with the Entrance, it will be a partly cloudy day with a high chance of showers, most likely falling around late morning. The max will be 21 with a minimum of 16 and there will be light winds. There will also be a possible smoke haze due to hazard reduction burns in central mangrove. Saturday looks to be the same again, with 21 being the high and 16 being the low. It will also be a partly cloudy day with a medium chance of rain and light winds. Moving to Gosford, the max of Saturday will be 23 with a low of 12 and a high chance of showers again coming around late morning. Light winds are also expected. Sunday is much of the same, with the high being 23 and the low being 12 again, this time with a medium chance of rain and light winds. The week ahead looks no better, with possible showers predicted all week and temperatures in the low 20s. Now let's move on to Maisie.
Thanks, Harry. All of these stories and thousands more can be found on our website or in this week's Coast Community News, Coast Community Chronicle and the Pelican Post. Make sure to subscribe to all of our socials and Spotify for updates during the week. In celebration of International Jazz Day, Avoca Beach Theatre will host local musician and composer Dorian Mode, who will lead a 6-piece band. And whilst we give you a snippet of what you could be hearing tonight in Avoca, we thought we would play you some footage from the Lion Island Swim, where 10 enthusiastic swimmers braved sharks, choppy seas and deep waters, swimming in an 8.5-kilometre swim around Lion Island last month. We hope you enjoyed this week's show and we'll see you next week.
It must have been moonglow, way up in the blue. always remember that moon glow gave me you.
I still hear you saying,
dear one, hold me fast.